So, Abby, the last time we read, Katie Kazoo was at Louie's shop again, like she always does. And Louie wasn't very happy because his customers kept going to olives and oregano. So, let's find out what happens next. Chapter 5. After they'd finished their pizza, Suzanne and Katie took a walk around the mall. They stopped at Beat It, the bead store near the book nook. They tried on blue eyeshadow at the beauty barn and checked out jewelry at the golden earring stall. "Katie, are you ever going to get your ears pierced?" Suzanne asked. Suzanne had her ears pierced in first grade. Katie, on the other hand, was still wearing clip-on earrings. "It doesn't hurt," Suzanne assured her. "At least not a lot." Katie shrugged. "Let's go to the flower shop," she suggested. But it was almost impossible to get to the flower shop. The area around the store was filled with crowds of people hanging around outside olives and oregano. Clowns were giving balloons to the kids who walked by, and pretty girls in Italian folk dancing costumes were handing out free food to adults for coupons. Coupons for free food? You know, adults love free food, huh? "Hey, Katie Kazoo!" George cried from a seat near the front of the restaurant. He was sitting at the table with Zoe Cantor and Manny Gonzalez. "What are you doing here?" Katie asked. "Why weren't you at Louie's? He's been making pizzas all afternoon." "Come on, sit down," Zoe said to Katie. "We've got room." Manny shrugged and said, "They're giving out free soda here." Suzanne plopped down in a chair near Zoe, but Katie didn't move. She didn't want to eat at the restaurant that was giving Louie so much trouble. "I don't think so. I've got to get back to my mom's store," she said. "Oh, you can stay for a little while," Manny said. "We just ordered some fries. You can share." "Yeah," George said. "We're getting tons of food. My mom gave me money and told me to stay here until she gets back from returning things at the jeans store." "Come on, Katie, sit down," Suzanne urged. "Your mom isn't going home for at least another hour. And besides, they have chocolate milkshakes on the menu." Katie did love chocolate milkshakes. "Do you know how they get milkshakes?" George asked. "How?" Katie asked. "From nervous cows, of course," said George as he laughed at his own joke. Katie laughed too. "Okay, I'll stay. But only for a minute, and I'm not going to eat anything." Suzanne shrugged. "Okay, but I'm ordering a shake." Katie sat down and looked around at the restaurant. On the wall, there were huge paintings of Italian olive groves. All of the waiters and waitresses were dressed in red, white, and green uniforms, which matched the colors on the big Italian flag that hung over the door. And, of course, there were plenty of olives and oregano on all of the tables. Katie sighed. Compared to olives and oregano, Louie's pizza shop didn't look like much. But Louie's pizza was the best. Katie was sure of that. Achoo! Suddenly George put his hand to his nose as he sneezed. As he pulled his hand away, there was a big green glob on his fingers. "Ew!" Suzanne exclaimed. Katie was pretty grossed out too, until she realized that the green glob was actually an olive. "Gotcha!" George laughed. Katie began to relax. She loved being with her friends, especially on the weekends. She reached into the olive bowl and pulled out a thick, salty black olive. Yum! But as she popped the olive in her mouth, she got a sick feeling in her stomach. At that very moment, Louis passed by the window of olives and oregano. Louis didn't wave. He didn't even smile. He just kept on walking with a sad look on his face. Katy was sure Louis had seen her and her friends sitting at the table. She knew his feelings must be really hurt. "I'm a terrible friend," she muttered sadly to herself. Katy didn't go to the mall for a whole week after Louis spotted her in olives and oregano. She was too embarrassed. But when Saturday came around, her mother told her she had to go. "I have to work all day, and your dad is out of town on a business trip," said her mom. "I need you to spend the day at the mall. There's nowhere else you can go today." Katy was not about to face Louis alone, so she made sure that all of her friends would be there with her. At 12 o'clock, Katy, Suzanne, George, Jeremy, Kevin, Becky, Miriam, Mandy, Zoe, and Mandy all met outside the pizza shop. There was a new sign in the window, and it said, "Going out of business." Katy couldn't believe her eyes. It just wasn't possible. Louis's pizza shop had been in the Cherrydale Mall ever since Katy could remember. Suddenly she forgot all about being embarrassed. She had to talk to Louis. "Louis, you aren't really going out of business, are you?" Katy asked. Louis nodded. "I am," he told her. "But why?" said Katy. "I'm losing all of my customers to olives and oregano. They advertise on TV, in newspapers. I can't afford to do that. And if I can't advertise, I can't get people to eat here instead of there." The kids looked at each other. They felt bad about eating at olives and oregano. "Don't be sad. It's okay. I'm going to move to Florida." "Who lives in Florida?" "I know someone who lives in Florida." "My sister, she has a place there, and she says retirement is very nice." He tried to smile, but Katy could tell he was sad. Pop! Suddenly a loud noise came from where Suzanne was standing. Her face was all covered in bubble gum. "Sorry, I'm trying to break the biggest bubble record." She struggled to pull globs of bubble gum from her chin, cheeks, and nose. "What are you all laughing at?" All her friends were giggling. I wonder why. "Too bad you can't break a record, Louis," Jeremy said, turning his attention away from Suzanne. "What the kind of record?" Louis asked. "I don't know," Jeremy said. "The most customers in a pizza shop or something." "That would be nice," Louis agreed. Suddenly, a big grin came over Katy's face. "Jeremy, you're a genius!" "Well, of course he is," Becky said with a smile. "Everyone knows that." Jeremy blushed and moved away from Becky. "What are you talking about?" he asked Katy. "Louis, I know how you can get a free advertising in newspapers and on TV," Katy told him. And there we will stop. I wonder what she'll do. I wonder what her great idea is. I love you, Abigail. And I hope you enjoy your story. And I'll give you more tomorrow. You can find out all about it. Sweet dreams, my little girl. I love you. Johnny, I love you. Good night.